Hey guys, we are talking about highlighters today, and the brand is Lancome, and this is called the Dual Finish Highlighter. This is actually a brand new release from Lancome. This retails for $39.50. Now this is very widely available. You can find this in every department stores, Macy's, Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, Bergdorf Goodman, where else? Sephora, of course, and also Lancome's website. I bought mine at Sephora, and you get 5.2 grams for $39.50. That is actually quite on the expensive side. Just for reference, Becca offers 8 grams of product, and that retails for $38. So it's $1 less, and it's like almost 3 grams more product. And a Max Extra Dimension Skin Finish is actually $33. It's a lot less, and you get 9 grams of product, so you get like almost 4 grams more for a lot less. So this is quite on the expensive side. Now on Sephora's website it says you get 19 grams of product, 19. I was actually kind of very intrigued by that. First of all, that's why I went ahead and bought this, but that is obviously apparently quite inaccurate and false. You get 5.2. Sephora seriously needs to correct that piece of information. You're not 19, not 19. You get 5.2 grams, which is, it's all right. It's not very less, but at the same time it's not a lot, especially for the amount that they charge. And yeah, what else? There are 5 shades in total in this collection. Well, this is not limited edition or anything. It just says new, and it's at the same time it's not also exclusive, so you can find them everywhere. And these are just new products. What else? Yeah, let me quickly read the description of what they say this product is. They say that this is a dual effect powder highlighter. The formulation is powder formulation, and it has light reflecting pearls for a smooth and buildable glow. Now the dual finish, initially I thought it's like a duochrome. That's what I initially thought, but dual finish means that this formulation can be used dry and wet. That's what they mean, because none of these shades are actually duochrome or anything. Just usual, just normal shades. They say that use it dry for a very subtle glow, and then apply damp for a very intense strobing result. And they say that it comes with a sponge actually. So they say that if you use this sponge, you actually get a very intense glow. Or you can just dab with your fingers for a very subtle glow as well. Now there are 5 shades in total, and I have 4 of them. The shade that I do not have is the lightest shade. I think it's called Shimmering Buff. So except for that shade, I have the rest of the 4 shades with me. And this is a box that it came in, like a silver box, and it has like, yeah, it just has at the back it has like instruction as to how you can use it, just like, you know, guidelines. It says for a natural glow, just pat and dab the product with your fingers, and then if you want like a spotlight attention, they say that wet the sponge for a very strobing effect, and then for very precise application they say use a brush. So yeah, that's what they mean by dual finish. You can use it dry and wet. Let's look at the packaging. It's just a plastic packaging, completely like a shiny plastic packaging, and then it has like a gold detail here. And at the back you have a sticker, just a paper sticker, which has the name of the product, the shade name, and the amount of product you get. And these are made in Canada. It does come with a sponge, like I said, but there's no there's no like packaging or where you can like carry the sponge inside the compact. It came separately in just like a plastic, like a plastic cover. So I just took it out. So there's no way for you to carry this. I don't think this opens up. Maybe it does. No, this doesn't open up. This compact, this is a product, by the way. It doesn't open up where you can store the sponge underneath the product. It's not like that. Probably just have to carry it separately. So yeah, let's start with the swatches. I want to show you guys how it is. It applies wet as well. Just I want to show it at least with one shade, if not with all the shades. But I will show you the brush swatches when applied dry for all the shades. So this is Sparkling Peach. So this is like a peach shade, and let's do this. So with finger swatch it looks pretty intense, but when you use the product you know, dry, it's actually pretty subtle. That is the product. Apply dry. You can definitely see, they say that when you use it dry you get a subtle glow. I don't feel that this is a subtle glow. I feel this is like a medium glow, not like an intense glow, but at the same time you can definitely like tell that you have product, and it's pretty it's somewhere in between, like a subtle glow and like an intense glow. So yeah. So next shade, this is actually like a very pale golden peach shade. All the shades that I picked up are actually on the warm side, so all of them have like some amount of gold in it. Next shade is luminous gold. Do you see, they all actually look very similar. They all of the shades have like a lot of gold to it. So yeah, this is gold, so you wouldn't really see a lot of difference in the pan. And even in the swatch, this has a little bit of yellow to it, and this is more on the slight peachier side, and this is more yellow. Where's that? I'm just quickly taking out a wipe so that you can let's do this quickly. I picked up a lot of product actually, that's why it looks very intense. Picked a lot of product. I like dipped in like twice quickly, so that's why it looks very glowy. So yeah, that is gold. That's, what is it called? It's called luminous gold. Next is radiant rose gold. This is kind of I feel a unique shade out of the bunch. It definitely, as the name suggests, it has like a rosy gold kind of a finish to it. It's not like duochrome or anything, but it is I feel it is a unique shade. Even just not for this collection, even out in the market, the highlighter makeup market, I don't think you have a lot of shades like this. So yeah, let's do that. So that is that shade. This is just one you know, one dip of the brush. I just did it. Oh, there's a little bit left. The gold I had like I took a lot of product in the brush, that's why it was very intense, but this is just one swipe, just one layer. So that is the rose gold, and the final shade is dazzling bronze. This, as you can see, is definitely on the darker side. Yeah, you can definitely tell that this is on the darker side. But as you can see, at least these three shades are very similar. They have a lot of gold in all of these shades have a lot of gold with just a subtle difference, I feel. Let's look at the swatch. Oh, I didn't remove it. So let's do this. So that is the bronze. I picked up a lot of product on the brush, that's why it looks very, very glowy. But if you just apply it dry, it gives you a very medium kind of metallic effect, medium glow. So yeah, and that is a final swatch. Now let's talk about formulation, because these are very expensive and you don't get like a ton of product. You get, I would say, like an okay amount of product, but not a lot. So formulation wise, as they suggest, this is a powder formula, and none of these shades have any chunky glitter at all. They are very finely milled. They are actually pretty sparkly, as you can see. They are very reflective. But so as they say, if you use a, now for all the application wet and dry, I used a brush. I did not use a sponge. I didn't want to like get it dirty, and I didn't know where to store it, so I just skipped the sponge. And I'm also used to using a brush. So when you use it like a dry, when you don't wet your brush, just use it right away, straight away. You actually, as I said, you get like a very medium toned glow. It's not very intense, and I feel no matter how much you build up with a dry brush, it doesn't turn intense at all. It just stays the same, in fact. So you just end up adding more product to your skin. So I'd suggest just go with 1 or 2 layers. More than 2 layers, I don't feel, when you, especially when you use like a dry brush, I feel it doesn't really make a difference after like 2 layers. Maybe 1 or 2 layers it does make a difference, but after 2 layers it just remains the same. But when you like really wet your brush, I was like shocked as to how crazy intense. It's just not just an intense highlight. It's crazy intense, guys. Let me just show it to you guys once. I just have MAC Fix Plus thing here, and I really want to spray my brush. I don't want a lot of I don't want it to be dripping wet, so I'm just blotting the excess you know, fluid, not fluid, the Fix Plus from it. So which side is actually, oh yeah, I really want to show you guys how crazy intense it is when you actually wet it. It's like, it becomes like extremely intense, guys. It will, you will be shocked as to how intense it gets. It's extremely intense. The thing is, there's a one slight downside that I noticed with wetting your brush. The thing is, when you wet your brush, it kind of makes the product, it changes the consistency of the powder, I feel. When you use it dry, it definitely is on the lighter side. It's very lightweight, but when you wet it, the consistency of the product kind of becomes heavy. It's almost like a cream highlighter on your skin. It becomes very thick, and it becomes very, very intense. It's like so reflective. It's extreme. It's crazy intense. You wouldn't believe how intense it is. But the consistency kind of turns into like a cream highlighter, and it like kind of becomes thicker changes into a thicker highlighter. And I feel that if you don't use a precise brush, it kind of becomes a little bit hard to blend it out, because the consistency is kind of thick, and you can actually tell like a clear line of demarcation because the product is so thick and it's laying so thick on your skin. So that's a small downside that I experienced with it. So if you wet your brush, I'd suggest use a very, very precise brush, and your application has to be very precise. That way you wouldn't face this problem. But if you use like a brush like this, where it's like the bristles are kind of opening out, not very much, but a little bit, so some of the stray bristles can actually spread the product in places that you do not want, and then it kind of becomes a little bit harder to blend because the consistency of the product gets a little bit thicker. So it's a solvable problem. It's not like totally, it's not a red flag. It's, you just use a very, very precise brush, or just use this brush, so a brush similar to this, but be very, very careful when you're applying. Just lay it in a very, very, be very careful when you're applying it. But besides that, these are powder highlighters, so I feel when you use it on the dry side, I don't feel that it emphasizes any texture, any dryness at all. Nor does it give that illusion that your skin is very dry, you know. Sometimes some powder highlighters do, but when you wet your brush, it actually does not either. But when you blend it a little bit, I feel that kind of emphasizes texture a tiny bit. So I would suggest just apply your blush first, and then use this as a last step, because when you apply a highlighter and then apply a blush, the way I do is first I apply the highlighter and then apply the blush, and then a little bit of highlighter goes away when I'm applying the blush, so that the highlighter and the blush blends together. So a little bit of highlighter goes away, and so I reapply the highlighter again. So when I do that, I feel it emphasizes texture if you go for a second layer. So I suggest just apply the blush first and then use this wet or dry, however you like, as a final step. That way it wouldn't, you wouldn't like add layer on layer. So that I think just adding more product gives you the problem. It presents a problem of emphasizing texture. Otherwise you shouldn't have any problem. So yeah, I just encountered two tiny problems with these. When you use the product wet, I feel the texture kind of becomes heavier and thicker. So I'd suggest use a very precise brush, because the thicker texture can clearly tell that you have a line of demarcation where you've applied a highlighter, and even after you apply a blush, it kind of doesn't mesh together and becomes one with the blush. It kind of, I struggle to actually blend it properly. So I suggest if you're using it wet, use a very precise brush. And the second problem that I encountered is if you apply the highlighter and blend it a little bit, and if you want to retouch it, I feel that it emphasizes texture. So just go in with the highlighter as a final step, so that way you wouldn't like blend it and reapply, blend it, reapply. That way when you add more and more product, I feel it emphasizes texture. So otherwise these products are really good. Now I wanted to also talk about the shade selection, guys. I truly feel this is the only unique shade out of the lot, meaning truly different. Of course I said the shade rose gold is actually really pretty and like a unique shade, yes, but these three shades, the gold, I think this is the gold, and this is the what's the shade, bronze. You have a gold, bronze, and the rose gold. Yeah, you have the gold, rose gold, and the bronze. These three shades are so similar, guys, on the skin tone. So I'd say just, I don't feel you need all three, but this is definitely on the different side. It actually is definitely more lighter, and it actually more peachier. I feel it looks very similar to Champagne Pop because of that peachy tone. So it's definitely different out of the lot, but maybe it's similar to that shade that I do not have, that shimmering buff shade. I'm not sure. I wouldn't know at all. I have no idea. But these three shades have a lot of gold in it. All three shades have a lot of gold, just a subtle difference. This has more yellow gold, and this has more rosy gold, and this is more like dark bronzy gold. So but all these three shades, gold, rose gold, and the bronze shade, are very similar on the skin tone, and I feel for the price that they charge us, I don't think that you really need all three. If you really want a very unique shade, and if you have like I feel if you really want a very unique shade, just pick one shade that you really want. I don't want to suggest anything, because all of these shades, dark, light, whatever it might be, it does not leave a white cast. Of course the darker shade doesn't leave a white cast, but this light shade does not leave a white cast, because most powder highlighters, such light shades, they do leave a white cast, but this is actually very effortless to carry on dark skin. It's very effortless. You don't have to worry about that at all. If you're really interested, and if you have the funds at your disposal to buy this product, I just say go and buy whatever you want, because these shades do not leave a white cast. And I feel these three shades have a lot of gold in it, and they are very similar. So I don't think that you need all three. Just pick whichever tone that you like. Like a brown tone is a bronze, like a more rosy tone it's like a rose gold, and more gold, like yellow gold tone is the the shimmering gold, or whatever gold that is called. Or if you want like to go on the very lighter side, just go pick peach. So yeah, that's my review, guys. Hope you guys found this video useful. Hope I covered everything. There are there are pros to this product, and there are also cons. The pros is they are very finely milled. They actually really perform well. They also last very long. And I do like the fact that the lighter shades do not leave a white cast on darker skin. But on the downside, I wouldn't say the downside is like the biggest problem. you can definitely solve these the problems that you encounter with this, meaning if you use a very precise brush, if you want to use these products wet, because the consistency becomes very thick and it kind of makes it difficult to blend, I feel. At least that's how it appeared on my skin. And also, just don't layer more and more product, because when you use it wet, on dry, when you use it dry, I feel you can layer it and I don't feel that it emphasizes any texture or or any dryness in your skin. But when you use it wet, and when you cake more and more product, it actually looks very cakey. So yeah, that's it, you guys. Hope you guys found this video useful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked watching it, and please subscribe. Bye.